Hello there and welcome to another one. I trust I found you in good spirits. My name is Mr. Tender, back with another one. It's Sunday, 9 p.m. and I'm not alone. I'm with a lady that's wearing glasses. And you know what they say, when someone is wearing glasses, that means whatever that they're going to say is to be taken serious. That's how intellectual they are, or wisdomatic. Is there such a word as wisdomatic?
I've never heard. This will be the first.
It will be the
time.
first one, yes. So,
But allow me to take the compliment.
wisdomatic. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Miss Noluthando. I almost said Mrs.
You're okay. You can promote me.
Mrs.
You can be prophetic.
Hallelujah. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Noluthando. A brief introduction of who Noluthando is. Noluthando is, she's a very soft yet hard woman, very straightforward. I think the first time that I met Noluthando, I was like, wow, she's a bit quiet. She's on the bit of a quiet side, yet she does not take nonsense.
Okay, now I get to know the first impression is all this is.
After years. So, but I'm so glad that her and I became such good friends. And in as much as we don't speak every day, but I know that there's so much mutual respect between me and you. And I thank God for that. Yeah. So, Noluthi, hi.
Hi, Mr. TT.
No, don't call me Mr. TT. They don't know me as TT.
Oh, they don't know
yes,
me
yes. My name is Tatenda. You heard that.
Okay.
Did you even know my name?
Hi, Tatenda. No, I do know her name. Hi, Tatenda.
Oh, she said it right. Hi, Tatenda. Oh, yes. I love being nice. Yeah.
So I'm grateful for your platform. Now we meet after like donkey years.
After donkey years. Like literal donkey years. But it's good for you to be here, and I'm just so glad that when I sent you the invite, yours was, you just tell me when. I was like, hey, she's got something to say. Yeah, I love it.
When I actually left the house coming here, I was like, we've been organizing this
forever. Yeah.
So there will be not cancellations necessary, miscommunication. If you can put it like that.
My wife was asking me, is like, didn't you say Noluthando was coming? And I'm like, apparently we didn't even confirm.
Exactly.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we sorted, Noluthando is coming. And she was supposed to come for the last episode from Women's Month. But wow.
I wasn't even aware that it was actually in that month. That was going to be perfect.
Exactly. But here we are. Let's not dwell on the past. It happens.
Yes.
You are here, so it's a good thing. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. M.A.N podcast is not about men, like Noluthando asked me. When she got in here, she's like, men as in man? No. Man as in matured, available, nurture. So every person that comes onto the platform is matured enough to avail themselves to care. Nurturing is caring. So thank you for being matured. Thank you for being available. Thank you for nurturing the next person with whatever with whatever that we're going to speak about. And guess what? I don't know what we're speaking about.
Yeah, which sets me on a very anxious stage. Anyway, let me tell you a story about the name of the podcast. So, was it yesterday or this morning?
Yeah.
Probably yesterday. So I was sharing that I need to come by you today. And then my partner asked, what's the name of the podcast? I'm like,
wow.
M.A.N. He's like, what do you know about men?
So to him, you're going on a M.A.N platform. So what do you know about
exactly.
men?
So that's why when I got here, as we're talking, I was like, is it men as in like gender, or is it stands for something?
Yeah.
So good that you explained what it actually stands.
So that means we were going to get something about men. You had already planned, because I know you as a woman that plans everything to the T. So I know that whatever that you had in mind today was for men then.
This time I was actually blank.
Really?
I was actually blank, and like I said, I had a bit of anxiety. I'm like, what is this going to be about? So I was blank. I didn't prepare anything. But even if it was about men, then it was going to work better.
Okay, so it is about men.
Because it is one of the things that I'm quite interested in. So my undergrad and postgrad, I did, the topic of my research was on masculinity.
Oh.
So
there you have it. So the topic or the title of today's video is masculinity. Love it.
So a few years ago, actually more than more than 5 years ago, I posted something on social media that one day I believe I will host a seminar or an event where I'll be the only woman in the room. And there will be men.
Okay.
So a friend of mine from high school comments like, so you think you know better? I'm like, no, I don't think I know better, but I know from the perspective of a woman in terms of how the behavior of men impacts the next person being a woman. And I know what we want from this gender.
I love where the conversation is already going. Jeez. You know what? There's nothing that stresses you like finding a topic. Because every other time you have to go through the whole hour episode to think which part here can be the title. You understand? So we're speaking masculinity, but before we get into that.
Wow! I didn't expect that.
What women want.
I didn't expect that term.
There is a movie that's called What Men Want, something like that.
Is it?
Yes, I think so. There is, right? Yes.
Must be interesting.
I think so too.
Check it out.
If I watched it, I'm not a movie person, so yeah. Is it on Netflix?
Is it?
Apparently it is
Perfect.
on Netflix, yeah. So yeah, go to Netflix and subscribe to Netflix and get that. So yeah, I'm not advertising for Netflix. So yeah. Anyway, Noluthando, what happened? My icebreaker question just switched off. Anyway, we've got icebreaker questions that we come up with. These are switched off, so they're going to come from my head.
Okay.
And if I throw you under the bus, well, it's me this time. If it was on the iPad, then it was Mrs. TT.
Okay.
Right. First question is a game. So it's 5 questions that just there to sort of warm the room up.
Sure.
Not that you need the room to be warmed, so you've warmed it up already. First question would be, never have I ever drunk down my ex. Do you drink?
Do I drink? For years, I never used to touch alcohol. For obvious reasons. I hated the smell. And also the community that I grew up in as a child, or rather even the broader family, extended family, it's a family full of people who actually drink.
Okay.
And not light drinkers.
Yeah.
Like my glass here. Madam Titi helped me with something strong. Joking.
There's truth to every joke. Right?
So, because of that, I hated alcohol, the smell, as well as how I've seen people behave or impact negatively so other people because of alcohol. So I never. And then, few years ago, I touched a glass. But still, I noticed that I still don't have tolerance for alcohol. How it makes you feel, the smell.
That's the goodness of it, man.
The smell.
When you're getting that fuzzy feeling. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But if Mr. Titi invites me for a dinner party and then he offers me a glass
of red wine or white wine.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind to have a glass.
Yeah. So anyway, after drinking that, have you ever drunk down your ex?
What do you mean by that?
When you drunk dial, you know when you
phone.
Yes,
Oh.
like when you are so drunk that you know
And
you
then
say that
you
you're
phone
calling them to say hi, how are you doing? Or you are
just-
nonsense, you know that, yeah.
I've never done that. Mainly because I'm that person that when I move.
Okay.
When I'm in a relationship with you, I will love you to the core.
But when you're done,
But when we are over, we are over. I will not even have your number.
She was.
On
You
my
don't
phone.
even. So next question was gonna be, never have I ever stalked my ex on social media. So you've never done that as well.
I do have my exes on social media. Do I stalk them? No.
You done.
Some of them are even, what do they call it, that thing? Unfollow.
Oh, okay.
So you're still friends, but you don't see what they post.
Oh.
So I'm that hardcore that when I'm done, I'm done. And I'll have that conversation with you in the relationship that, oh, me.
I'm done.
When I'm done.
I'm so done.
I'm not that high
I'm not
strange of
going back.
vibes.
I'm
no.
not going back.
But there's an incident that happened. But I was not
Let's
dating
hear.
the guy.
Hey, sit back, relax.
I was
and
not
enjoy.
dating the guy. It was Sunday after church, so I was home chatting with my friend on WhatsApp. So I sent an I love you text to a guy I was crushing on. Mistakenly, I thought I was sending it to my friend.
Mistakenly. Yeah.
Probably the guy didn't even buy it, that it was actually a mistake because I was chatting to
Obviously,
both of them.
yeah.
But I was like, it's done if
It
he
is
thinks
what
that.
it is. It is what it is.
Nothing I can do.
YouTube, Netflix. social media, one must go.
YouTube.
Netflix. Yeah.
Isn't YouTube part of social media?
Yeah, but we keep it separate, yeah.
Okay.
So by
YouTube
social
can
media,
go.
we're saying Facebook and Instagram and all that.
YouTube can go.
Really? What are you going to watch?
Can watch Netflix. Social media, there's enough.
Stuff
to
to
keep
watch.
you the whole day.
Or gossip to go around and...
Yeah, there's one thing that has been stressing me about social media. How people share. I was actually sharing it. It was the end of last week. That social media sometimes gives me so anxiety about life. So much anxiety. When people share about their relationships and what men have done to them and how other people come to the fore then and share their own experiences, I just need some antidepressants right
That's why
there.
they say kwamjolo, it's a pandemic right there.
Yeah, so when they share those things, they really freak me out. Maybe I need to, fast or limit, because it really does get to my nerve.
I think it comes back again to the stuff that you're consuming. I think because of the algorithm, the moment you click on one gossip, then your whole timeline is about that. So I guess, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Books or movies?
Books, of course.
All day.
Books, yes, all day.
All day.
I've always been a reader. Just last week, I was actually sharing with my manager at work a story from my childhood. That there's a cousin of mine whom I'm a year older than. Yeah. So we basically grew up as twins. So she was that girl or that child who was considered naturally intelligent.
Okay.
And I was that child who was like, oh, this one needs to put a little bit of effort to make it up.
Make it up, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one time we were playing at my grandmother's house, and that's when I realized that actually my love for books has always been, like, it dates back to childhood. So my cousin and my friends were just playing by the side, and I was sitting just not too far from them, reading. And one of my aunts actually said, no, this one, really, she does need to put effort.
A bit more effort,
exactly.
Yeah.
To make it. So I've always been a books lover. So when I was in high school and my undergrad years, every term I'll make sure that I read a book.
Okay.
Now the adult life has gotten me
Obviously.
drowning.
Yeah.
So I don't read as much as I would like to, but the current one that I'm reading, I finished, the one I just finished is Lean In, which I really love.
Okay.
It's about women and how to strike a balance between your professional life and
I love that.
and your.
I love that. Yeah.
I really love
think
the
a lot of people are struggling to find a balance between the two. And it's either one is going so well, but the other one is dipping. So to strike a balance, it's not something that's just easier. It's easier said than done, but a lot of people are struggling. Yeah.
Definitely. That's why sometimes I wish I was a man. I don't think they have to stress about that because
Really?
they don't get pregnant. And when the baby is here.
No, but then do you know that men also go through hormones when the wife is pregnant?
And I was watching videos and posts of Noluthando Mqakelana.
Yeah, I was about
and the
to say
husband
the
was
same
sharing
thing.
that.
Apparently, the husband took I don't watch her,
Which
but
is
my wife
great.
was telling me about her. The husband took over all the emotions and the morning sicknesses and whatnot. Yeah.
Father, I pray for that grace.
Oh, okay. So, brother, gonna come on to you. Sorry, bro. Yeah. I see.
So actually, even when with the is it what do they call these things, man? Is it horse what? But it's some creature that lives underwater. Whereby is a man that actually gets pregnant.
Oh, the
Yes.
seahorse.
So when I learned that, I was like, Lord, I want to be a seahorse. Just for
No
this
wonder,
experience.
no wonder it stays underwater, because no, we'll never survive. Never. That's one prayer that I will rebuke, say, no, back to sender. I'm not doing that.
That was going to be nice. But
Not doing that.
here we are with the ones to do. So my current read is Grit, which I'm dreading.
How many books can you read at a time?
I stick to one.
Is it? I've known of people that read 4 or 5 books at the same
I
time.
don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
I'll probably just swap the...
Me too. That's the thing. Now the character that I'm reading in this one, I'm thinking, no, man, Oh, you understand?
Yeah,
So,
no, it didn't work for me. There's an app I used to use, AnyBooks app. So I don't know, 2 years ago, but it's not working anymore.
You're the one
that
that
was
sent
perfect.
me. You actually sent me that.
Is it?
Yeah,
I enjoyed
but it's not
that.
working though. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's not working, but it used to be awesome. You'd go to service points and then they make you wait for 45 minutes. And I never felt like I wasted the 45 minutes
45
because I would read.
Yeah.
As opposed to carrying the physical
Awesome
copy.
stuff. The last one is a crazy one. Never have I ever gone back to my ex. Have you ever dated the same guy twice? You date him, you break up, then you go back to them.
Did you hear what I said, Titi?
You never go back. Huh?
I don't go back to exes.
You're not that guy.
No, I don't go back to exes.
Sorry, exes. So once you're an ex on Noluthando, you're screwed. You're done.
No, I don't go back to exes. Yeah. One of my ex's friends actually reached out. Just like fears. Like, Noluthando, would you consider going back to my friend? No. I laughed. I'm like, yo, I love myself that much. I can't do that.
I can't do that to myself.
Then I got curious. I'm like, is that the conversation you guys are having? Not that I want to go back. But
just say bad.
Yeah, I was just curious.
But we don't go back.
You know, I don't go back. But I've been in a relationship whereby there's what I would call instability, if I can put it like that. Okay. But it's a breakup of ours. You know those crazy ones.
Is there ever a peaceful breakup?
Ever a peaceful?
Because I think the reason why one would go back to their ex is because maybe the breakup was probably two immature human beings that later on decided, you know what, it wasn't all that bad. We can try again. I've seen of a lot of people. One of my mates' mom, was dating a guy in high school. Okay. Then he stayed back in England. She was here in South Africa. After 20, 30 years, they both lost their partners and they met on Facebook and they got married and she shipped off to England. They're married now. She is 60, 65, I think.
That's when they reconciled.
Yeah, that's when they reconciled.
Yeah, you don't have much choice there. But anyway.
But anyway.
Anyway. I don't think though there's, okay, in my personal opinion, is there ever a peaceful breakup? It's only if you are never attached to each other.
But that's impossible. You can never not be attached in a relationship.
That's what I'm saying. In this day and age, they're casual relationships, Mr. TT.
No, but I know people speak about no strings attached, but there is never no strings.
That's what I'm saying. In such case, if you haven't really reached a point, because you can start as no strings attached, and then as you spend time together, there's someone who attaches. Yes. But before it gets there, if you come to a point whereby, you know what, this thing is not working for me,
get out. But that's not a hard breakup.
Yeah, then that can be simple. But where there's like really attachment, no, that's messy. Messy. I can tell you, that's very messy.
Very messy. But we're not getting there yet. Yeah. Anyway, those were the icebreaker questions just to warm the room up, and it seems like we just already gone through. Anyway, the banner down below is for you to sponsor the video. If you've got a company and you want to advertise, just do so. The link and the details and everything is down there. Other than that, you can like, share, and subscribe, and we carry on. Anyway, Nolchi, the first question that we always ask someone when you invite a guest is, who's that person? So when I say, I'm inviting Noluthando to the podcast, the first thing that my wife would say, obviously now she knows, but there will be, who is that? And I hate that question, honestly speaking, but it's unfortunately it's the start of any conversation. Yeah. Who is Noluthando, in your own words?
That's always an interesting one, because there needs to be some level of self-awareness in you. Noluthando is I'm very anxious about the time that is nearing for me to be outside of the young adult age group.
How long does one keep on saying I'm young? No.
I know. So it's
when they start speaking about Rakadi and we're waiting for the adults to make a decision. It's you, bro.
I'm gonna be there. Okay, but basically Noluthando is a black woman, as you can see, who is very passionate about things that are all to do with self-development, self-awareness. I always preach this to people that one of my strongest beliefs is that people who are self-aware are the most powerful people. And when I interact with people within my work environment, I often tell them that there will never be performance review that happens where I'm given feedback that is a shock to me, I'm always aware. So when I hear people say something, it's not a shock to me. It doesn't knock me off my feet and like, oh, what do you mean by that? It's things that I'm aware of, both negative as well as positive. Somebody who likes challenging the status quo, especially on things that are no longer working, in particular to family, relationships, marriages, because I believe that's the core, as they often say when they talk in conferences, the core of society. I strongly believe that. And one way in which you can observe that is in relationships, to understand that indeed family, marriage is the core of our foundation as human beings. You realize that when you come across somebody and you're getting to know this person, you're building a relationship with this person, and when you get to hear about their background, their story, there are certain things that you would not understand about their behavior, about their thought process, if you don't understand where they're coming from in terms of that. And when then that foundation is broken, it becomes a challenge to these people when they now have to bring another person in their own lives. Hence that I'm very passionate about that, in terms of how then as a society do we establish strong individuals, self-aware individuals, people who show up in marriage and relationships with the intention to build in clarity on how their past actually impact their present, and being intentional about what exactly do I need to work on personally to make sure that my husband, my kids have the best version of me. So those are things that I'm passionate about, and I also love God, and it's also been a very interesting journey for me for the past couple of years in terms of my relationship with God, or certain questions that I get to have in my corner or people in my circle about who God is in my personal life and the journey with Him.
Amazing that you say you liked challenging the status quo. Have you always been that kind of lady? I almost said that kind of girl. Have you always been that kind of lady that wanted to? The reason why is I always make this example that I want to get into toilets that are written staff only. in retrospect, so, because I want challenge. I love challenging society or challenge certain norms that everyone has said that's okay. It's not okay. At what point did you say not? Have you always been that kind of girl that says not? The teacher says 1 + 1 is 2. No. I choose to believe that 1 + 1 is 4.
I've always been, as you're asking this, I'm having a couple of incidents. So if I date back like to my mom would describe me as that person. But her preference of description, I don't like it. She's like, oh, Noluthando, you're stubborn.
Okay. I think society thinks that a woman or a person that knows their worth is stubborn. Yeah.
Exactly. And even in the work environment, I've come into situations whereby people are like, you have a curious mind in the questions that you ask. And what's nice, maybe it's because of the professional space in the work environment, it's not that they take offense, but they're like surprised by this way of thinking. Even in my personal relationship, my partner describes me as, when I was born as what is it, women's rights advocate. And whenever you start talking about this thing, I see the fire in you, and that is who I am. I've always been like that, even at work. I don't have it in my consciousness that I have a CEO, directors, and whatnot. That doesn't exist in me. So if you are wrong, you are wrong, and I will.
You challenge.
I'll tell you.
Even if you're superior, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Exactly. Even in the church environment, I've been in a space from you. We've served in the under the same congregation for a while in the past, and I was that person that I'd speak if something doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't
sit well. Yeah. And the church and the society do not like those kind of Christians because you are a heathen or you're being used by the devil.
Yes.
So just because you see it as wrong, it's okay. You understand?
That's true. That's how you are spotted, Mr. Titi. That's how you'll be described. Not long ago, I had a conversation with my mom. We were talking about this and talking about being too involved in the church. I said to her, probably I'll be fired in the church if I had to go back to the environment of really being heavily involved in the church. I'll probably be chased away. Because the church is not prepared for such minds.
I don't think society is prepared for such minds as well. It's just like, I was actually speaking to one of the girls. She's very young, man, and she was like, "Not my boyfriend is under pressure. He wants to have a child, but then he says we can wait on marriage. We'll get married in a year or two, but the child must come like yesterday." So I'm like, "No, why are you trying to fall for the same pit that every other girl is falling into?" And just because he's so adamant about having the child doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to marry you. You are going to be another baby mama.
Of course.
If you look at how society is going. So a lot of times when we then get a person that is saying, I don't want to go right because everyone else is going right. I want to go left even though I'm alone. And a lot of people, they go left for a certain time, then think, no, I think this is the wrong way. If you ever written an exam and every answer in a multiple choice question is A. When you get to number 30, you're like, nah, this is not it. Let me just put a B or a C, just spice it all up. Yeah, it can't be.
Exactly.
So, society and church are not ready for a person that knows their worth and that knows their no. I think we are a generation that it's easy for me to come to you and say, Noluthando, can you give me your car? She's supposed to say yes. The moment she says no, like, okay, maybe she doesn't like me, or she's angry at me, or she's stingy, or whatever. Just because someone says no, it doesn't mean that they are stingy. I love that.
True.
So, fine, this is Noluthando. In your journey being the one that doesn't go with the status quo, what kind of challenges have you met? And there's probably somebody that is watching this and thinking, geez, exactly what she's talking about, that's who I am. But I've been forced to think that I'm a negative person, or I cannot be heavily involved in a relationship, or I cannot love another person, because we think, especially as women tend to just fall under the radar because the husband said we must go left, then we're gonna go left. The husband said you must hold on to your career, so we hold off on your career. The husband says we must buy a new house, then we buy a new house. The husband said, or the boyfriend said, I guess that said she has a child, I think the kid is 11 or so.
Yeah.
She says, you know what, Titenda, the reason why I had sex and got pregnant then was because I wanted to keep my boyfriend. And that's exactly what women are going through. You sort of like just getting succumbed by what society expects, because umfazi, you must hold yourself in a certain way. Umfazi, you must do this to be a wife material. But no one is going to say to the man, this is what you need to do to be a husband material. I think women are under so much pressure to be called wife material, but no one ever looks at a man and says, you are husband material. Have you gone through any challenges? And if so, give me live examples of what has been thrown at you and what pictures have been drawn at you because of what you believe in.
Is it necessarily what I believe in terms of the challenges that I've gone through? I think the difficulties or challenges I've encountered because of what I believe in are not anything that I could describe as, life was difficult. Because there hasn't really been anything extreme that I feel this is because of what I believe in. But challenges generally life, like anybody else, of course, I've been exposed to some, which then some of them led me to what I was going to in terms of whereby then you are put in a place whereby you are thinking about this relationship with God, or not even the relationship with God, you're thinking about this God. And who he is and how he's supposed to be. So one of the things I have a challenge with is when people say, don't mind people or how people treat you, but focus on God. My reaction or response to that, why are you laughing? Are you having a specific thought on that?
I am actually.
And every time I come across that, I'm that person, I'm very mindful of what I comment on Facebook. I don't mind things I put out because they're my thoughts, it's okay. But in terms of how I engage on your post, I'm mindful. If it's opposing and I don't often interact with you, then I'll just like, okay, let it slide. Yeah. But my problem with that statement is that none of us have seen God. So when Tatenda comes to me and says he believes in God, he's a Christian, to me, that's an opportunity to experience God through Tatenda, because Tatenda is talking about representing God.
100%.
So when people say, no, it's people who hate you, not God, at some point I struggled a lot with that because I have not personally seen God.
Yeah.
I rely on the people who say they represent him around me to see the manifestation of his character.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I grappled with.
Which is true though, because we experience God's blessings through people. That's why they say, be a blessing to another person. That's why you can't just go to the guy that is at the traffic light and hungry and say, I pray in the name of Jesus that God provides for you. Yet you've got bread on the side of your seat. So
Exactly.
we need to be representatives of God for people to experience God through us. So you can't tell me that you're going to smack me and you say, you know what, don't worry. Jesus said, smack the other side. Like, where am I experiencing God? Yeah.
Definitely,
I like that.
Mr. TT. Like I'm saying, we've never. One of the things I strongly believe in, and the prayer point I make to God is that, Lord, use me as an extension of you to other people. If it is love that they need, allow me to embrace them and to love them the way that you describe in your word, that when through that experience they are assured that God indeed loves them. Yeah. So just yesterday I was having a conversation about a friend of mine, and my partner was like, oh, this friend of yours is actually drifting away from you. I'm like, that's fine. And then he continued to say, she'll never find a friend like you who is so caring and gets so invested into a relationship and genuinely wishes the best for the other person. So that's my prayer point, and every day I strive for that I am an extension of God's, whatever God wants to manifest or the other person to experience. I'm a candidate. Lord, use me if I come into contact with that person.
Wow. I love the Lord use me, but then at the same time, the moment we say Lord use me, then oh dear Lord.
No, I don't know the fire. I don't want the fire.
Oh,
the refiner
dear
lyrics,
Lord.
no.
Lord,
I'm
dear
okay.
Lord.
I had enough of those.
Oh dear Lord, use me, and He certainly will use you.
Yeah.
Let's talk masculinity. You said you've always been that kind of person that wanted to let the other gender know what you want. You strike me as a person that if you are in a relationship with Noluthando, this is what she wants. This is her standard. This is her principle. If you cannot match it, sorry, move. That's not arrogance. That's not stubbornness. That's just confidence. Let's talk masculinity in your own words and how you've seen it and what you women want. But remember, they say the book to understand women is.
I've seen that.
Gigantic. I think I've said I'm gonna link it down. I'll find it on Google. They say that book is massive because as a gender we're struggling in relationships because we don't know what the other partner wants. At this point in time, I've been married to my wife for 8 years, and I was so surprised. 2 days ago, I was like, "Crap, I don't know you."
But is it that you really don't know what your partner, your wife wants as a man? Is that you really don't know, or you decide to deprioritize and minimize what they say they want?
See, that changes it. It changes it now. You know what they want, they know what they want, but they sort of shift, or when you say it's not that important.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you left the socks in the corridor, is it worth fighting? Just leave it. We deprioritize. I've never heard of deprioritize. So we had, what was the first word that we had earlier on in the show?
What was it?
I forgot that word. Go back to the first one. Now we've got deprioritize. Yes, carry on.
Yeah, so I honestly do not think that you men do not know what we want. Firstly, because we're very vocal individuals.
Too much.
We tell you how you make us feel. We tell you what we want, but it is a matter of, in communication that there's a sender, there's a receiver, and there's a noise. Okay. So sometimes your thoughts as men and your beliefs about us, not about your wife, and women generally as well. So that noise ends up not making the message I'm sending to you as a wife land the way.
Where is that noise coming from?
It's coming from you growing up. We've seen, especially with the Zulu people, that like, Mfazi, yindoda. And also, it's not only with the Zulu people. I think most black people, it's just that Zulu people are very vocal about it. Okay. So it comes from you growing up that you said something about socialization, that we are prepared from young age in terms of how to be a wife, how to be a mother. you guys are prepared as well, but not the functional preparation.
Okay.
From
Tell us more. Here we don't know.
So you are prepared as well from a young age, but you're not getting the same message that is in unison with the message that we are getting as women. As a woman or as a girl, as you're growing up, you must submit to your husband. Yes, respect, begezela, and all those things. You see? Exactly. And then, so our teaching, the teachings that we get is that of building functional families. And sometimes, unfortunately, that is at the expense of our mental health as women. You, on the other side, you're getting teachings, Zoguti. To prove that you're a man, you must have slept with multiple women. You must be a serial cheater. You must not let a woman...
You see? Don't even say sorry, exactly.
Yeah, but
like, what kind of a man are you that she's going to find you pants down with another woman? We're so sorry, babe.
You
For
see?
what?
Or deny.
Exactly.
To your grave. So those are the things that you guys are taught, which becomes a noise then when we speak. You don't hear the messages that, because you're like, now what I'm asking you goes against the message that you hear. It's like, what the hell?
So she's expecting me to say, I'm sorry, babe, before hurting you. I know of a couple that once came to me and like, I don't know how many times I've caught my husband in a compromising position.
Yeah.
But he would never, ever say, I'm sorry, babe, I hurt you. Never.
You see?
Never.
So those are the realities. So just in short, you guys, we tell men what we want, but they decide not to hear us. That's why I was saying then the sense of self-awareness and doing the necessary work personally, especially if you have this desire to change what you've seen previously or even personally experienced with your parents. Now that needs you then to go back to that space where you need to personally work on yourself to unlearn these dysfunctional ways.
What happened to loving him or loving her as she is or loving him as he is?
Does that mean then loving that person with the bad habits that impact my health in any way?
Yeah, but the thing is, remember, they all say a lot of women are jumping into relationships because, he's always late, but it's not the end of the world. There is worse out there. So the little that you've got, treasure it. So you end up foregoing of all your belief systems or your principles because you start swifting them according to importance. Like, okay, this is red, it's a red flag, I'm not doing that. This is maybe can turn into a yellow, that can turn into a brown. Maybe as time goes on, things are going to change. So if you're going to go with that mentality that this is how I want my person to be, then that means you want them to be 100%. Are you ever going to get somebody that has 100% all the qualities, listens to you, and makes sure that they do what you need or they give you what you want?
You're making me think of some things you hear from people.
Yeah.
That makes some people stay in dysfunctional relationships because it's never 100%. But anyway, you're so right. But what you're talking about makes me think of boundaries. That there are things that are of boundaries to us that are like so crucial for somebody whom I would consider a partner or a husband or a wife that needs to be in place. And then some things like the socks that you can overlook those things. Yeah. But if then a boundary for you is someone who's financially responsible, then don't tolerate that if that thing is not in that person. Yeah. But in short, I agree there's no 100%, but you have a boundaries that there are things that you can tolerate, and as in like socks, you can tolerate. A few years ago, I attended a marriage seminar. So this old couple, they really blessed me so much. They've been married for, I think it was 20 or 30 years. And then that woman was like, in those days, I've only gotten to enjoy my marriage for the last 10 years.
So the other 20
were horrible. And then she looked at us in the room. She's like, I see most of you are young people. Please do not let minor things steal the harmony, the joy, and the peace in your marriage. And then she made an example of socks. And if this person always leaves the socks around, don't let that steal the joy in your marriage. If you've addressed it so many times, just pick up the socks and let life continue. She blessed me so much.
Because I always say you don't have to RSVP for every fight or for every invite, because there is going to be an invite every time. Literally, I've seen it even in church, not relationships only. In church, I'm going to be so angry at Noluthando because maybe when she got out of her car, she didn't smile. Or maybe Noluthando, just when I was about to go and greet her, she went and greeted brother so-and-so. So she's not a good person, you understand? So I've seen a lot of people go in and look for a problem, and once the problem comes, we get surprised.
They look for a problem.
Yes, because it's just like they say, if you climb a mountain looking for baboons, you're going to find them. Unfortunately, and when we do find them, we then get surprised. No, man, relationships are tough. Marriages are hard.
Yeah.
But we are going in there with the perception that they are hard. They will become hard.
True.
We're going there with this perception that, you know what, they can't change me. What's your take on that statement that says, a man can never change me? You see me like this is what you get.
A man can never change me. I have a problem with it. Because when you do open your life to the next person, that's a total stranger that you haven't known for the X number of years.
You grew up in different households, different societies, communities, yeah.
Exactly. And then this person comes to your world and you're thinking there's nothing that you're going to change.
Impossible.
You're mad.
Impossible.
Or rather, you're not fit for what you are chasing. Rather, stay by yourself. There will be things that will require you to change. It's like what I said then. If you're saying no man will change me, are you saying umntwana abantu must tolerate your nonsense? Doesn't matter how it impacts him.
Yeah, and usually, have you seen that? It's usually the ladies that go out partying and drinking and all that. And in as much as I don't mind that, but I think at some point, as an adult, you need to understand that there's no way I can be out drinking at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. There is no way I can be out every Thursday or every Friday. Yes, during your prime years, even as gents, you go clubbing and whatnot. But it gets to a point whereby you're like, I think age is cotton up and cotton jeepers. Coming out of age is caught up with me. And that's when they start saying, no, a man cannot change me. Because no man is going to tolerate a woman that goes out partying Friday, Saturday, Sunday, unfortunately. And at the same time, Meg G once said that no man is going to marry a slave queen.
I've heard those before.
Yeah. And the reason being is, yes, you go to gallivant with him and you go to Dubai, you go to shopping and you got the makeup on and whatnot, but he's going to go back to that one, the wife material. It comes back again to the wife material vibes. But then a man can never change me. Is it because they really don't want to be changed? Or is it because they know that what they are doing is not right, but you're trying to console yourself?
It could be both, but another factor in that could be you've tried this previously with some guy to change for him and he screwed you up. And I'm not putting myself through that away.
I'm not putting myself through that again.
Exactly. So it could be multiple factors that get one to be there to say, a man will not change me. It could be also you don't deem him as worth the effort of changing. Changing for. And that is a matter of why you're here. There's another benefit than building a lifetime commitment with this person.
Yeah.
Which could be high then if you were using the case of going out.
Yeah. But then at the same time, remember, you can meet someone at the bar and you think, that's my wife. Something clicks and say, that's my wife. So obviously when a man starts talking about settling down and the woman is not there as yet, that means the man is ready. That means women really don't know what they want. Because if a man is telling you that, can we stop with the drinking? Yes, he may be going to drinking himself, but then he wants to come back home to someone else. And you then say, no, a man cannot change me. Are we then saying a woman cannot perceive what a man is all about, or women don't know men?
So what's the behavior of this man when he says he wants to settle down?
Yeah, baby, I don't want you to go drinking.
I mean the behavior. What's my experience of you daily as I do life with you? Is what you're saying right now that you want to settle? aligned to what I'm exposed to every day that says, this is a husband.
Who's supposed to do the settling first?
Settling first.
Yeah, who's supposed to have the mindset first?
It seems like it works better when it's a man.
No, but the
However,
thing is, remember, a woman is a builder.
True.
Yeah.
But you can, like, Tatana, you're a man, and I'm sure you've seen in your circle how you guys are.
Yeah.
You can say one thing and do the other.
Yeah.
If then you see the behavior of this person, that indeed this guy is ready, is not only speech, the behavior is ready, and also when he says he wants to settle, he's giving, we work best with timelines. He's giving me a good say, okay, this is how it's going to happen. This is me saying. But if it's just a wishy-wishy thing that you pull every time I want to go out, it's not going to land.
Oh, so it's sort of like it's a card that he pulls whenever you say you're going out with the girl.
Yeah, so if that's the case, I will rebel. I'll rebel, we'll have a problem. But if really I see that this guy really, we've been having this conversation, there's a layout plan in terms of how it's going to happen, then it's something to sit down and consider and think, do I really want to be with this guy? If yes, I am willing to tell my buddies that no, I'm not.
Sorry, girls, I'm not coming on Thursday. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
So just sell the real deal.
You've always been so invested in marriages and relationships. What is it something that you experienced as you were growing up that you said you want to change? Or you just were that kind of person that would say, not on my watch am I going to see another family breakdown?
I guess it's also just the childhood exposure. So I grew up with my aunts. When I look at my friend circle, most of my friends, I didn't even know their dads. I don't even know if they knew their dads. If I think of the friends I had, I think I'm the only one whom their parents ended up getting married later. And then one, it was an old couple, the parents, so they were married, but the husband was working wherever. So most of them, there are no dads in the picture. And I suspect they never even knew their dads. So coming home, in terms of my home environment growing up, my aunts, they had kids while they were young. I think 14, 15, they started. And then, of course, my late aunt, she died at 24 and already she had 3 kids. And so that environment, as a child, did make me think, this is not what I want for myself. Probably is what also led to me starting dating later in life, and also I've always desired to get married young and grow with my husband. That was my thing, that this is what I want. Because in the depth of my heart was, I do not want to expose myself to multiple people. That was my strongest thing, that I don't want that. I just found it to be traumatic. I'm telling you, I just found that thing to be traumatic, that then you will meet a large size with Mqaba, then you are exposed to... Then later you're exposed to a medium size with tiny arms. Then you are exposed to... I just found that really traumatic. I think that's also just made me feel like, Lord, if you could bless me. And the Lord did give me things, but it didn't work out. You know, it goes back to the thing of wanting different things, and how honest are we as individuals to allow each other to make that informed decision to say, is this the person I want or not? Yeah.
Can one marry young? Or what age can constitute as marrying young?
I've had those conversations. For me, even if you are 20, 21, you want to get married and you've met the right person, go for it. But the key thing in that process of making the decision is to have that someone who is the logical voice. Not that somebody who only sing praises of this nice, cute, young couple, but someone who is able to give it to you raw and allow you to make an informed decision. I think for me that is the main big missing thing there. And then secondly, in the church environment, because that's the environment I've been exposed to mostly, is that even sometimes when you get that person who gives it to you raw or says things that should make you think and reevaluate this decision, we don't see it that way. We see it as jealous, which is not the case. Exactly, which is really not the case. But it is possible to get married young and make it work. the tricky part about marriage is that it's two individuals who think differently. And one, Tatiana might be extremely willing to make the marriage work, but Mrs. Moore might be in a different space. And based on that, that's why we're seeing a lot of breakups. But when you find people who are really into this, like they're clear about it and the depth of it, in terms of it's not only me having the legal right for sexual release, but there's something deeper, in a sense of, I've always longed for a family. I've heard guys who are saying, I grew up in an environment whereby my mom changed men like this and some of them abused them. And that made me to say, the day I find a wife, I'll commit and love that person. So it needs to be deeper than a sexual release, which is sometimes what we find in the church. You're young and you're dating, therefore.
And then why then does the church, because you're not the first one to say that, whereby I think it's Corinthians or somewhere in Paul that says, because I'm paraphrasing it, because I want to get rid of sinning, I would rather jump into marriage so that I do it legally. But then 5 or 2 years down the line, you realize that, this is not the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with, or this is not the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Or maybe my pastors lied to me. It's not all rosy in here. It's not as they painted it out to be. And at the same time, when one is now in there, they can't get out. Because now the very same church that pushed you into it is going to judge you for trying to get out.
It's a messy world in the church.
It's tough out there. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there.
No, it is messy. Like, on a serious note, it is messy, especially when it comes to that in the church. And my question is, okay, yeah, I'm tired of time because you're sexually frustrated. After you release, then what?
Then what? Exactly. Then what?
That's why then Noluthando is chucked out. What you're seeking the next sexual release. Because you committing to Noluthando was not deeper than the sexual release that you pursued.
I want to go back to a point that you said, we need to experience God through our actions. Why then is it so difficult that the church and the body of Christ is failing to represent Christ, but then they are saying they're representing Christ in their own way, but if you look at it, you can't force someone to get married because they want to have sex. Or you can't force someone to give just because the Bible says you must give. You can't force someone to serve just because the Bible says you must serve. If they don't want, the very same Bible says give as you purpose in your heart. So if I'm going to come to you and say sell your house or sell your car to give, in as much as yes it says given it shall be given back to you double measure, but it also has to do with the heart. So yes, there is sexual pleasure. What does one do with the sexual pleasure? Because at the end of the day, it needs to be gotten rid of, right? So why is the church failing to represent Christ, or the church is representing Christ in another dimension, then in another one they're completely screwing it up? What are we doing wrong?
Why are you taking me to these debates? I've consciously made a decision that I'm staying away from church debates, and I focus on my corner with my God in terms of what's happening between me and him, as opposed to what's happening in the church, because like I keep on saying, it's messy. You would see the different arguments when you go on social media. This one is posting this, this one is posting that, and then they argue. And then upon reflecting on that, that's why I was like, hey, go to your cave, Noluthando, with your God.
Do your thing.
Yeah, and leave these debates that are happening. But I think one thing that's making the church to be like that is because we're very sin conscious. That's one. And then secondly, I'm seeing a growth of proving which one has a sound doctrine. Which nakhona, I'm like, what is this about? Because if you're saying we are preaching from the same Bible,
then the doctrine is the same.
Yeah,
if we are reading the same words, then surely it should be the same thing. Then.
That's my point. But people are there about proving who is right or who has the most powerful revelation about certain things.
But then revelation comes from God, not from you you studied the Bible left, right, and center. It still comes from God.
Exactly.
And the person that hasn't even had a year of Bible college can still get the same revelation. So to have a fight over doctrine is just, I think it's a circus. You're right.
It is. No, it's mad. I laugh at myself by myself when I see these posts that are happening. I'm like, hey, Lord,
I don't want to be the...
Yeah, because it does mess up with your mind, Titi. It does mess up with your spirituality, especially when you think of churches or circles whereby they don't say it directly, but they claim supremacy. And there's this closed circle, and there's
That's why it's so difficult to go to another church, to visit another church on a Sunday. And like, no, I'm actually in Cape Town for the weekend and I'm going to go to that church. No, come back to church.
See?
Come back to your church. Like, we're talking about the same God, aren't we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I go now to any church. When I'm in the East Friend, I
You
choose.
Go to the church there.
I choose which one do I want to go to. The area here. There's no way I'm driving
Exactly.
to the other side of Johannesburg to go to my
I'm
church.
already this side, so let me just go to
And I'm
church.
okay with that. Maybe then the local pastor and what would the church I consider my local assembly might not agree with it. But once again, goes back to my corner thing that I was talking about.
Yeah.
If then all of you East and West and whatever, you're preaching from the same thing, and Lapaya, they're not giving me a foreign thing. Strips and oil and whatnot. I'm okay.
Yeah. It's still the word of God at the end of the day. Masculinity, and Noluthando went to school to speak masculinity. And a simple question before we wrap up. What do women want?
What do you want? Yeah, that book you're talking about. It's all in there. It's a long, long thing.
Yeah.
What do we want? They're not lying when they're talking about the provision part. They're not lying.
Okay.
We are looking for that. And allow me to talk from my personal experience. I've been in settings whereby I felt like I was carrying the load. And during that situation, you don't notice. It's only when you're out, you're like, damn it, this was exhausting.
This was a burden.
This was exhausting.
Yeah.
We are definitely looking for that. And in some instances, but I'm not saying all, when that is in place, there are certain benefits that you get to experience as a man in terms of how I show up as a wife or a partner in your life because of this part. And then the other big thing that women are looking for, mainly because of this culture of normalizing obufebe, is so all women we're looking for someone who's loyal.
Yeah. But then, do you know that according to demography, there's more women than men?
So, and not all women want men.
Not all women are destined.
Not all women are destined. So are you trying to balance demography?
No, but then that's the whole point, isn't it? We need to balance ecosystem, don't we?
No.
The reason why
let's flip it.
We put lions and antelopes and zebras and whatnot is so that the ecosystem is balanced. The lion will eat the antelope will eat the grass. The grass is eaten by... Come on.
It's a messy world. And how to then close that argument, I often say, okay, it's fine, gay. If then your woman is a man, that's what you're doing, are we okay? Are we still reasoning the same?
I will be a woman, so...
If then your reasoning changes as a man when I flip the coin, then you know what you're doing is nonsense.
No, but then at the same time, the moment we flip the coin, then that means I'm thinking like a woman. You're thinking like a man. So...
And I'm flipping the coin of behavior. I'm not flipping gender, I'm flipping behavior.
Gender. Okay, not
yeah.
gender.
So if then you still continue with that reasoning to say, wara, it's fine, let life continue. But if then you pause and like, damn it, I can't even live with that, then you know what you're doing really is
not right. Every man, I still remember we once had a guest and she says, I don't want to be mbokodo. I don't want to be strong. Yeah. I want to be soft. I want to be taken care of. I want to be provided for. Yet society thinks a woman that wants that is a gold digger. Why?
That's what they do. You know what I once posted? I'm like, men, it's okay for me to go to a guy and make sure that his place is tidy and he's ready for work tomorrow. Things are ironed.
Shirts are ironed.
Yeah, it's okay for me to do that as a woman. And when we explain it from the guys, like he's assessing whether I'm wife material or marriage. But the moment I want your money, I'm a gold digger.
Yeah.
I'm also assessing your provider role, whether you'll be able to provide for me.
It's like the moment the girl starts saying, babe, can you please help me with $1,000? I want to pour petrol. Exactly. Okay. I think My wife once said that the ones that complain that women want money are the ones that are dating the ones that they don't afford.
That's actually very interesting. I like it.
So if you men naturally are providers. We pride ourselves in providing, and a lot of times we then, just because you're making a couple of grand more, you then want to go to a girl that she's used to money, or hey. Growing up, her dad was giving her 50 grand a week as pocket money. So obviously she's used to money. Yes, she's beautiful, she's got the assets and whatnot, great. But then when you go to her and then she asks you, babe, I want a bag. Okay, 2 grand. No, 200,000 rand. She's not a gold digger.
Exactly.
You just cannot afford it.
Yeah.
Because you are 200,000 yourself, so you can't. So she's not. I never understood the part of being a gold digger. A woman that knows her worth is painted with she's too arrogant. The reason why a lot of men don't approach certain women is because they say, no, we was born alone. No, I was born. You can't afford her.
Simple.
Unfortunately, simple. You can't, yeah.
And now, kind of, why should it be that this woman must ask you for the money?
Yeah.
The examples I gave earlier, the doing dishes, do you have to ask?
No.
Hey, Noluthando, do dishes. Hey, Noluthando, cook.
Hey, babe, please do the bad.
In most cases, these women, they
do.
like independently just stand up and do these things. But now when it comes to the money,
I think once it's already a red flag when she gets to asking, because she mustn't even be in a position to ask.
Oh, it's like...
Because obviously you know that if she drove to you 50Ks, that's petrol. If she drove to you 50Ks, that's mileage. If she drove to you, that's wear and tear. So,
but that's not the mindset men want.
It's tough,
like...
right? It's a messy world out there.
But there's also just a growing number of men who are looking for women
to provide for them.
Yes, it's either you provide for them or it's fine, maintain yourself, I maintain myself. Don't.
But then, are we building anything if we do that though? Would you be in a relationship with a person that says, do you, do me?
No, I'm too affectionate for such setup.
You don't do it.
Because for me, that wouldn't be even worth planning long-term things if that is.
Because it's not about the now. It's about tomorrow and the next day and the next
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, people don't want people to date with such mindset these days. It's like, no, let's see how it rolls.
Is there such a thing as a gold digger? A man that is a gold digger?
A man who?
Men that are gold diggers.
Is exactly what I'm saying, that they're looking for those that they
No. If you're saying the one that says do you do me, that means I'm providing for myself. That's okay. But then can you have a man that's gonna be a leech and literally they are on to you? You're gonna provide for this, you're gonna provide for that because I can't afford it, babes. I'm not working or my business is not going well. And women fall for that.
I think they are.
You women want so much to be projects, or you want to take men that are broken to make them your projects.
We're the messiahs.
Then I don't understand how one can be so comfortable with their woman providing for them. I don't know, is it just me? Am I weird? Or I don't know. But I don't believe in a woman providing for me. Is it pride? Maybe. Is it selfishness? Probably. Pride? Maybe. But I don't believe in a woman taking care of me.
I'd say it's more like in your makeup as a man, like you said, that, as a man you want to be the provider. It has nothing to do with pride or whatever. It's just like us, we want to be loved. So it's not to you are narcissistic or whatever.
Yeah.
You just want love.
Yeah.
So as a man, you just want to provide for a person.
A mate of mine is married, and she says they go 50-50 on absolutely everything in the house.
Money-wise?
Yeah, finances. So much so that if they go on a holiday and the holiday was 50 grand, she has to provide 25, he has to provide 25, including the fuel that they use to go to the holiday.
Wow.
If they drove to Cape Town and they use, live example, 6 petrol tanks, they have to go 3.
Is that the agreement that they had in the beginning?
That's how it is. That's what the man put on the table.
And then she agreed to it.
Oh, well.
If he did put it in the beginning and she bought to it, serves her right. But if it was never discussed and she discovered in the relationship, really.
No, it was not discussed. It's you get married and says, okay, I bought a house. This house needs 100,000 rand a month. You're gonna provide 250. I'll provide 50 because you've got your own business going.
Sure.
I've got my own work and whatever that is going. And the kids, 2 kids need to go to school. You need to provide for them. I provide for the food and whatnot. We are going on holiday 4 times a year. You're gonna provide for 2. I provide for 2.
And then the house chores, what percentage? What is the split?
I see changes.
Yeah, what is the split? Because if then you're
Yeah.
pushing for that, you will have a timetable to cook and do the dishes and wash and take care of the kids and do their homework. And if that's how you want to roll.
But it never goes that way, though.
Of course.
It's only the money.
You men are selfish, of course.
It
There's
never
no
goes
way he was
that way.
gonna agree to say it's fine, baby. I'll cook Monday, Tuesday. I'll wash and iron. There was no way he was gonna agree to that.
It's all about the money. Selfishness.
Very selfish.
Shit.
Because now the woman is doing the 50% contribution on everything, and then she must still come back from work. Hibo, cook, make sure the house is clean, the kids are fed, home.
He's fed.
He is fed.
Like really.
Sure.
But there's nothing wrong with when you plan. Oh, that's what I personally do. Mean, I would not expect you to carry the 100% load, just out of personal
I'll
things
help
that.
you with this.
Yes, but you
Yes,
mustn't
yes,
dare come to me
yes.
and tell me 50%.
But then it's not. Yes, my wife and I do
Split.
that. Yes, it's a split, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm saying, you know what, your money, you need to make sure that 50% is to come to the
no.
house. If she still needs to go do her hair and buy herself a bag and whatnot, that's okay. But I still need to make sure that every cent that comes into my house, 100% of it needs to help the house. And when she gives, it doesn't mean that she has to. Even if she wakes up and says, I don't want to, I don't have money, I'm never going to say, no, let me see your bank account, how much is in there, you understand? Before we wrap up, we've moved 6 minutes past our time.
We talk too much.
A wise woman once said, complete that statement.
Why am I put on the spot?
I love putting people on the spot.
A wise woman who's my mother said, don't marry a man with a child, but that's not the wisdom in this day and age. Yeah, my mom was adamant.
No, give them
Like,
that.
no, it's like, no, don't marry a man with a child. There's an element of truth in it, but I think the way things are rolling, what are the chances that you're going to find somebody with
But
a child?
again, that's us going back to you are changing your principle just because society is saying. Surely there's a man without a child out there. Surely there's a girl
yes, there
without a
is,
child.
but also I think it's my just character that I wouldn't rule out a person because
Oh,
the
because
person
of
is a
their
child.
kids.
Like
Yes.
I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying might work for other people, but
Yeah. Noluthando, you've been amazing. Thank you for taking your time. What has been your overview of the whole conversation? Did I put you on the spot enough?
it went well. You didn't put me on the soft spot enough, but you did on a couple of them. It was an enjoyable conversation, but it also just gave me an opportunity to just reflect on certain things. So as you asked questions, there's certain things that are playing.
In your mind, yeah.
But it was a good way to close off a Sunday.
Awesome stuff.
Awesome.
If you're still here, thank you for still being here. I know you've got something else to do with your life, but you decided to come and chill with me and Noluthando. And I don't think I will ever call you Noluthando. Ever. It's gonna be tough if I do. Okay, there's no promises. It's always going to be Noluthando.
Yeah, coming to think of it, I've never heard you call me by my full name.
Never.
No.
Never. It was my first time to hear you say Tatenda, and I'm like, she said it right. Yeah. So anyway, this is the M.A.N podcast. My name is Tatenda, like we said. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. We start the new week, and the year is going. It's almost the end of September. No, it's not. It's the start of
beginning.
September. It's almost the beginning of October. But the most important thing is Christmas is around the corner, and the year is gone. And there is always opportunity for you to start. You can never say, I'm going to start working out in January. I always say, no, who starts stuff in August or who starts stuff in September? But you can still start. What advice would you give someone that is trying to work out? And because Noluthando is also a fitness pro. And
Fitness pro.
Yeah.
Not pro necessarily, but it's something that I find great joy in. And people often ask, like, what's the motivation? And I find that question so weird.
Noluthando, what's the motivation behind you?
That question is so weird. But here's my thing. What gets me to, like, even on days where I don't feel like going to the gym that I go is to the benefits in terms of clearing your head. Secondly, is how I want to feel and look in my older age, like 50s going to my death. Yeah, I don't want to be like those go-go's that life is difficult. I want to be able to do daily activities and still look good. Yeah. So that's...
What advice would you give to a lady that is out there and thinking, I can't do this. I've tried. I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm sore and I have to take painkillers and I can't do this, but I want... A lot of people want to lose weight, but they're not planning, or they're not willing to go through the process.
Of course, they don't want to do the work. But think of this. How many other things in your life, generally, outside of gym or working out, that you never felt like doing, but you did them? There are days you don't feel like going to work, but you work. There are days you don't feel like cooking, but you cook. There are many things that you don't feel like doing. So if you were to really live life according to what you feel, there are a lot of things that you would not be able to do. So future gym in it as well. 90% of the time, I don't feel like going to the gym. Sometimes I would feel a headache because I'm prone to headaches. I'll feel a headache, or I just feel like I don't want to go. I push myself, change. But the moment I walk in and I skip for like 5 minutes, I've forgotten that I didn't want to be here.
And I always say the only bad workout is the one that you didn't do.
Exactly.
So even if you go there for 5 minutes, then you did well. Now, literally, before you leave, I've got a gift for you. You said you're a book reader. And we got these from Puluko. You know Puluko Mqakelana? He's on TikTok. He gave us these books.
Check it out.
Stronger. It's a 90-day devotion. And PulukoGlobal.com, you get this book, and each and every person that comes onto the show gets this. The readers. So if you didn't get it, you're not a reader. Sorry. Puluko is strong on motivation. He's a man of God. He is about self-improvement. He's a very young man. Very, very young man, but speaks boldly. The word of God speaks boldly. The encouragement speaks boldly of him as a man. Have you ever seen a young man that's, you're like, geez, you are entrapped in a body of a 60 or 70-year-old? That's Puluko. So we got these books and they are slowly running out. So well done for coming through.
So I'm right on time.
So you're right on time. So we're going to personalize it to Noluthi.
It's lovely. This is going to be my
To
next
Noluthi.
read.
We love you. Man. Not men. Sorry, man, not men.
Not
man.
daughter.
Yes, yeah. So this is our gift to you. Thank you for taking your time to come through and share your wisdom.
Awesome.
We really appreciate you, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you for the invite and thank you for the chat. It was awesome to be here and see the hard work behind the scene. I'm like, this is amazing.
No, we try.
You did it.
We just try. You know, just being humble. We try.
No, you did it. Impressive.
Cheers for now. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And stay safe, keep believing, and God loves you. Cheers for now.
Write in the podcast Being Men as I learn to be a man. Understanding the time, lessons, and patience inquire to be a 10. A series of compass insights of the journey for a different turn. Being men, where rivers of the mind flow to give a damn. A movement with river flows, so I be a bailer I can. All stones are turned, all souls affirmed. Right at the podcast Being Men. All stones are turned, all souls affirmed. Welcome to Being Men.